Liberal city accused of misguided priorities. New York City's mayor recently warned his city could be destroyed by the migrant crisis and how the influx could cost the city a whopping $12 billion by 2025. But never mind that. Some local leaders think statues are the real problem. New York City Council members are laser focused on creating a reparations task force to, among other things, remove statues of people tied to slavery from city property.
This bill is part of an overall effort to really address historical injustices. It looks at the landscape of New York City, the public space we have. I don't see this as anything other than an act of moving forward in a positive way, a proactive approach towards addressing art in public spaces and trying to have a conversation about how do we move forward.
Statues of George Washington and Christopher Columbus could be on the chopping block. Jesse sent Johnny down to interview the council members about their proposal.
Do you want to remove the statues?
It depends.
Christopher Columbus.
It depends. I'm about truth telling.
He discovered America.
There are a lot of people that feel he did many harms, and statutes and monuments tend to honor people.
The Italians are going to be very upset.
I've heard that he wasn't even Italian.
You want to remove the statues?
Rename the Christopher Columbus statue
to what?
Amerigo Vespucci.
So you're just saying all white guys look the same?
No, I'm not saying that. Columbus was a bad guy.
Wow, now they're going to see Johnny coming, Jesse, and think, oh boy, here we go.
So the woman he interviewed said she didn't even know Columbus was Italian. How stupid are you? She's trying to destroy this guy because, why? Because he discovered America? Italians are going to be mad. He sailed under the Spanish crown, but he's Italian.
Yep.
She doesn't even know what she's talking about. So instead, they're going to put a plaque as a peace offering, and it's $10,000 to say in small letters that Columbus was a bad guy. Do you think that's solving the problems, Dana?
I don't.
We have migrant crises, we have a crime wave, and they're going to tear down statues in this country. The Italians aren't going to put up with it, and the rest of red-blooded America is not going to put up with it. George Washington?
Right.
Thomas Jefferson? Are you kidding me? Do we even belong to the same country? She should be proud of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. Without these two men, we wouldn't have a country. Then we wouldn't have any statues to tear down.
Do you know the other thing that happens at the Columbus statue, at Columbus Circle? There's the statue and then there's the circle. Do you know what is all around there? Homeless. Mm-hmm. They care so much about the area.
You know, the amazing part of it, Dana, is that we didn't learn from what happened in California. So Gavin Newsom puts together this reparations committee to assess what they should do about the past injustices. And they come back and say, you should give everybody this amount of money, that amount of money, this amount of money. And then he comes out and he says it's much more than about a cash payment, because she doesn't want to give them the money. So now we're in the middle of a migrant crisis. We can't even afford it. The mayor's complaining about it. And what we want to do is assess, the New York City Council wants to assess what we should do for reparations. And by the way, that little plaque that's $10,000, why not just put a scarlet letter on it? I mean, because that's what it is. These are really bad people. Why don't people look at history in terms of history, in terms of the time? What was going on at that time? Put things in context. Maybe they did do good things, all right? And going forward, does that mean these same people will be willing to say in 40 years, I was wrong in 2023 because I didn't look at it the right way as I'm looking at it in 2063?
Harold, when you think about all the problems that exist in government today, and you are triaging a situation where the mayor says we have to cut $25 billion in services to the city while the trash is not even picked up on the streets right now, is this the highest and best use of our time and taxpayer dollars?
No. I listened to the councilwoman, and you think about the challenges we face in our public schools. You think about the migrant issues that we talk about. You think about the mental health issues that we talk about on this show. Many in our city are dealing with. And you think about the crime. I understand where the councilwoman is coming from, but there are far bigger issues that we need to be focused on, I believe. Two, our history is complex. It's a beautifully complex story known as America. There are unsavory things and unbelievable things in our past. There are incredible things and incredulous things that have happened in America's history. We shouldn't be afraid of any of it. We should want to learn it, understand it, and figure out how we don't repeat the same mistakes and how we grow from it. And I hope that as much as the passion I heard from some who want these statues removed, redirect some of that passion. Those of you in government to try to figure out how we make sure that we don't repeat some of the challenges or some of the problems we face today. And one thing that's going to help us repeat it, which is unfortunate, is if we don't teach and educate our kids, we don't make our streets safe, and we don't find ways to protect our border. History shows us if you can't do those things, as Jefferson once said, any nation that wants to be free and ignorant at the same time will be a nation that has never happened before in the history of the world. That's what we should be focused on, not removing statues and.
Harold, that was George Jefferson.
Well, he was moving.
Know your
on up.
history.
He was moving on up. He was moving on up.
I love his statue.
Yes. Yeah. You know, this is so unfair, Dana. If you remove those statues from Columbus Circle, where will the CNN staffers urinate?
I don't know.
It's a good question. So where should the statues go? I think red states should declare themselves statue sanctuaries, right?
Yeah.
We send you the illegals, we'll take the statues. And there should be no cash bail for these statues. So once you pick them up, you better let them go. Pays to remind New York leaders that statues, by definition, are stationary. They can't move, which means they don't rape, they don't rob, they don't push women in front of subway trains. No statue ever did a smash and grab at a Walgreens or beat an elderly man unconscious. I'm sure, however, if you say that removing statues will do nothing to reduce crime, the left will say, no, you're wrong. The statues are emblematic of the oppression that led to this type of activity. Officer, I beat that Asian woman to a bloody pulp after seeing that statue of Columbus. I demand justice and reparations.
We'll see if you get them. Let's just
I don't
hope
mind the
that we
reparations.
focus.
Just a little bit. I'm gonna be on record with that.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.